which AAU teams do you see out there, or AAU organizations do you seem out there where their NIL component really impressed you? Or like, oh, they're leaning into this, or they had a special feature where you were like, ooh, I like what they're doing there. Have you seen anybody who really impressed you, or that they really were leaning in on helping their athletes with NIL? Welcome to another edition of For the Love of the Game. We have an incredible guest for you today with an incredible amount of knowledge and information that you need to know. You need to pay attention to this podcast. And if you turn it off too easy, that's a lick on you. So I'm asking you, you need to wait all the way until the end. You need to focus. Matter of fact, I might not even put any ads up in this one because you need to pay attention for you. This is for you. So we just thank you as the listener for tuning in, and we thank our guests for coming here. We're going to welcome you to our podcast, Aisha Foy. We thank you for coming and visiting us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All righty. Now, Miss Foy, we ask a question that we ask of all of the people that come to this podcast. And here is our question. When and how did you fall in love with basketball?
I love that question. I think that is a great question to connect the game to the person for sure. When I fell in love with basketball, I would say 8 years old when I started playing. And when I started playing, my sister was playing on the 10 and under AU team. And while they were playing, while they was practicing, I was on the sideline just, being a silly little kid, being a silly little sibling. And I just got up with them. I started like playing with them, trying to practice with them. And, that kind of started my basketball journey. I think at that time I might have been playing like rec or something like that. But once I saw my sister playing and seeing how big it could be and just saying like, oh, I want to be part of this, I just kind of jumped up and I've been going ever since.
Hey, did you know there's this little button? It's right here on the video. And it reads SUBSCRIBE. And when you click that little button, an angel gets its wings. For real.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That sounds like Italy and Nadia a little bit. A little different because it was a brother instead of a sister, but very similar to some of our children. Now, I have been dying to get you on here because I think that this is a new area in basketball that a lot of people are uneducated on, and this is so brand new that I think that we really need to get information out there. We really need to educate the public. I've studied a little bit of it myself, but I always believe there's this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where in psychology, it's basically people think that they know more than what they really do. So I'm going to ask questions like I don't know anything about this at all. All right. So
I don't know anything really about this at all. So no matter how seasoned you are, NIL is this new ever evolving thing. So, I mean, this is going to be some good stuff.
Okay. Well, I took that VHSL course a while ago, but I don't even remember all of it. So that's all that I've done. But for people who have not taken anything and they're totally unfamiliar, can you explain NIL in simple terms for our listeners who might not be familiar with the concept?
Absolutely. So NIL is name, image, and likeness, and I'm gonna keep it very simple. So name, image, and likeness, and there could be different people like to have different definitions. But I mean, you simply can make money based off your name, image, and likeness, your personal brand, who you are, right? Every single person in the United States of America was allowed to make money off their name, image, and likeness, except student athletes. So NIL is not a new thing in general. Like, always new endorsements. People been being paid on social media for a long time, being paid for their brand, celebrities, actors, influential people being paid to just do things or show up or represent brands and things like that. All of those things are basically monetizing your NIL. So you can monetize yourself, you can monetize your skill sets and have the ability to, make money as a student athlete. And the way that happens is the first way, which people call true NIL, is endorsements, right? We see Juju Watkins in a State Farm commercial, or you can see a, student athlete representing a local pizza shop in advertising or a car dealership, just um, endorsements. And then you have what's called a collective, and that's what people think NIL is in total. And that is when the schools are actually, or the collective is outside of the school, but they're representation of the school, and they're finding resources, cash to pay student athletes to come to their school or to pay student athletes, for their talent. So that's pretty much what it is. Basic, simple terms just to get us started is you can make money off a brand, you can make money off who you are, you can accept things in exchange and do business and stuff like that as a person, as a student.
Tune in, like and subscribe for the love of the game with Tony and David.
Tony, can I ask a question real quick? So if you look back at Miami back in the day, they have this whole documentary about the U, and how things went with that situation. I can't remember the guy's name that was a part of the whole situation that went down at Miami. But where would that fall into NIL right now? Because you just named two different things, the endorsements and then was it collective?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to for Miami.
So they had a millionaire that was attached to Miami, and then of course they had Uncle Luke and some of them that were attached to Miami that were given jewelry and that was paying big time money for recruits to come to Miami to play football, and even I guess even basketball at the time, but football of course was where they were finding their success. But they were, is that what collective looks like? They go out and get a millionaire who's tied to the area or tied to the university, and that person contributes money to pay the NIL?
Yes, somewhat. That could be what it looks like. I mean, boosters, people with disposable income, because the money that they're coming up with, I'm floored because it just keeps coming in. 'Cause I'm like, where they getting these money from? Who's donating this money? But yeah, I mean, basically, but the way it's happening now is more formalized. It does have to be reported, depending on your school, your state. It does have to be reported, so it's not just like a slide and you cash. I mean, they was doing that back then. They're probably still doing that now, but that is just one aspect of it. That's not what NIL is. But
Gotcha.
and let me explain this, right? So student athletes have the right to their NIL. So that means it's just legal to accept things outside of your scholarship.
Okay, that is awesome. Now, before I get into all the nitty gritty about NIL, I'm very pro NIL. I've got two young athletes, and by the time it's all said and done, I'm going to probably spend around 150 to $200,000 in training, hotels, travel, all these other things. So yes, I want my family to be reimbursed for all of that, and I don't want them to have to go pro in order to do that. I'm trying to, I'll be honest. I'm trying to work their TikToks. I'm trying to work their Instagram. I'm trying to work everything because I'll be honest with you. I won't be very, and it kind of annoys me because sometimes people try to say, you're trying to make money off your kids. Well, no, my kids are going to cost me around $150,000. So guess what? I'm just trying to make that. I'm 52 years old. I'm putting some of my retirement into my children. I had them late. So I'm trying to make my money back. You know what I'm saying? So
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah. So, but some people in the AAU groups will come for you when you are honest about that. But another thing, so educate me on this though, and maybe I'm wrong on this. Whenever I hear some of these big coaches, I won't say their name, Coach Gino, but whenever I hear these big coaches poo-poo or dog out NIL, it really kind of gets on my nerves, and it really irritates me. And I even actually say in my head, like, you the last one my kid going to. You know what I'm saying? So, but tell me how I'm wrong feeling that way. It is because when I hear coaches say negative things about NIL, it just, especially some of the older coaches, I think like, well, it's almost like I feel like y'all want the money, and then we can't like we have to wait until they go pro in order to get the money. And there's only a 1% of 1% of 1% chance that they're going to go pro. What are your thoughts on that when you hear those coaches say that?
Yeah, so it's a lot of different things. So a coach can be frustrated because of the way NIL is changing, the way people are navigating NIL. I don't think like some coaches may be mad that kids are getting paid, but that's very weird. But I think when a coach like a Gino or whomever say they don't like NIL, blame NIL, making it in a bad light, I think they're more referring to as we can't recruit a kid without them worrying about how much money they're going to make. Or now we're in a bidding war for kids instead of them just coming to play for the game. Or if I'm trying to recruit a kid, the first thing I ask him is how much you're going to pay me. That is the part of NIL that they're frustrated with. And I'm frustrated. I don't like that part either. I'm pro NIL obviously, but I don't like that part either, right? I tell any recruit that I work with, like treat your recruiting process as if there was no money on the table, right? So the term NIL can mean a zillion different things. So, and I don't like talking it, I don't like being general because again, it means so many different things. So it's good and bad and everything in the way that it's being regulated, in the way that a lot of people are not educated on how to take advantage of it, how to move, how to maneuver, how to go about your sales. Those are the things that irritate coaches or that's making it a negative thing, not necessarily the fact that um, players have the right to their NIL now, or the right to monetize their NIL.
Okay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for the love of the game.
Do you feel like there's a better way to regulate it? Sorry, Tony. Because so here's a situation I run into. I host a tournament, and I won't say the name of the university that near where I host this tournament, but I host a tournament, and they've stopped. They're planning on stopping their spring game because they say that it's basically an opportunity for other schools to come in and recruit their players away with NIL money. And so, is there a better way to regulate that? I mean, they're stopping their whole spring football game
Yeah.
because they feel like other schools are coming into the spring football game for free, watching the game, recruiting their players, and throwing more NIL money at them to get them into the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point that you bring up as far as the negative effects that people are using money or NIL money to get recruits and doing it the wrong way, right? You're not even supposed to reach out to recruit a kid until they have decided themselves that they want to put their name in a transfer portal. So, um, so yeah, I mean that is an aspect that could be negative. Say your question one more time.
I was just curious, like, is there a way to to get rid of the negative? Is there a big, of course, obviously, NCAA governs, a lot of things that maybe they possibly probably shouldn't govern. But is there another way to govern this? Is there another way to kind of eliminate some of these negative, aspects of the NIL by governing it a little differently?
Yeah, I think it's hard to govern that aspect of it because everybody's looking for a recruiting advantage, right? And um so if you can use money as a way to get a kid or to get people's attention and things like that, I think it's very hard even in a highly policed NCAA to actually govern it because you can always offer somebody more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that when somebody is caught, just with the consequences being very you know, harsh, right? Almost career changing.
Mm-hmm.
Being more aware of tampering and taking tampering seriously because that's what that is. If I recruit somebody or I try to get somebody to go into the portal when they're not in the portal yet, that's called tampering. And that's actually that's a high NCAA violation. But people are not getting caught, or it may be the agent that's doing the tampering, making the phone calls, things like that. My personal philosophy is that I think parents really need to educate themselves to learn like what is the best way to navigate this for their family. I think everybody's situation is different. When I think I think everybody's situation is different. There's no right way or no wrong way, but I think each individual family or um I think everybody should be strategic and know what they want out of it and have education and really think about the future in the situation, not just trying to chase the money.
Amen. Amen. Now, sometimes I see people they conjoin in conversation when they have a problem with the transfer portal. They go after NIL as well. There's really two separate things, correct? I mean, so they like intellectually though, it seems like they join the two things together. Or is that my imagination? Do you see people do that as well?
Yeah, no, I'm explaining you what the problem is. The problem is that when the NIL law passed, the transfer portal law passed as well. They also changed the transfer rules that you could transfer freely. So the laws just overlapped almost at the same time. So that's the problem. It's
Okay.
it's two different problems. And I'm gonna tell you, the transfer portal was a problem way before NIL. I was on staff at Southeast Missouri State. We had transfer portal issues. I was on staff at Kentucky from 18, 19, 20. 21 for 3 seasons. Every season was transfer portal before the NIL law got passed. So it's now yeah, during COVID, they allowed people to transfer freely, and then 21, that's when NIL law passed. So it just happened at the same time, so it's creating issues kind of together, but regardless of NIL, people will still be transferring.
Right.
But it just makes it more enticing to transfer because they're thinking I can get more money if I do transfer. And that actually statistically that's a fact. If I transfer, I can get richer.
When we take a panoramic view encompassing achievements, MVPs, and championship rings, it becomes crystal clear that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar deserves the title of the greatest of all time. So why does his name rarely echo in the hallways of fame? The discourse is dominated by Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But why? The answer is more straightforward than you may think. Kareem's personality never catered to the appetite of large endorsement deals. He was undeniably a significant figure in the ad world, but his demeanor was often deemed challenging. He embodied woke culture before it became mainstream. In contrast, Jordan and LeBron are backed by billion-dollar enterprises, influencing the narrative. Let's scrutinize the numbers. Kareem boasts 3 NCAA titles, while Jordan has 1 and LeBron none. In the NBA, Kareem and Jordan each have 6 titles, while LeBron sits with 3 and a bubble championship. Kareem earned 6 MVPs, Jordan 5, and LeBron 4. In terms of NBA all-defensive first-team selections, Kareem leads with 11, Jordan follows with 9, and LeBron trails with 5. Yes, LeBron dominates all-time offensive stats, but isn't it logical given his career longevity? So why is Kareem's legacy often overlooked? Because he doesn't excel in the statistic that America values the most: money.
What did Rod say in the movie? Show me the money. So, but well, my question is, I took the VHSL class, and all I remember regarding high school athletes in NIL is that when you're taking endorsements, you have to make sure that you're not wearing any of your school colors or you're not wearing your school uniform because you're not representing in that capacity the public school or even the private school. You're representing your own name, image, and likeness. And there was like 3 or 4 other rules that I can't remember. Do you remember any of the other rules of VHSL in Virginia? Like what are the rules for kids in high school of how they can seek out NIL?
So I actually took that course too. It was probably by Bill Carter, right?
It was an online course, actually.
Yeah, it was. I think Bill Carter, guy with glasses, he was the one that was facilitating it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so that was just about the rules about I don't remember rules specifically because the rules are like people think NIL sometimes education, they think rules. I'm like, you need to even have a personal brand. You need to figure out how you even can be marketable. And then the rules, you don't even have a deal yet. So don't let these rules stop you. So, but yeah, that's a big rule, not being able to do it in your school colors. You probably have to report it, but every state is different as far as what the actual rule is. But the rules don't matter unless you got a deal on the table anyway, or unless you are being sought after for deals.
Okay. I mean, but those rules to me, I'm really cautious because I don't want to do anything where like for instance, LeBron James, because he took a Hummer in his senior year, I believe he couldn't play his last couple of weeks because he was driving a Hummer, and they were like, "Where'd you get the Hummer from?" So
Yeah, I mean, like that's not allowed at all. That's
yeah.
not allowed at all. But this the thing. What I'm saying is, if somebody offered you a Hummer, you say, okay, I got this offer for a Hummer for whatever reason, and now I know like what are the rules when it comes to accepting gifts, or what do I need to do in exchange. But I mean a rule that's pretty basic and overarching for every, is that you have to do something to get something. So what is he doing to get the Hummer? You know what I'm saying? So, it's important to know, what the parameters are, but they're very, some of them are like common sense. Some of them are just about reporting. And sometimes I always encourage my student athletes who are in high school to just ask your athletic director, like, hey, email your athletic director or set up a meeting and say, hey, I'm about to start participating in NIL. I'm about to start seeking NIL opportunities. What rules apply to our school and our state?
That's
Because the
good.
athletic director should be able to know, should be able to, you can even bring your deal, like bring a deal to the athletic director and say, hey, I have this deal on the table. And you don't have to expose like the amount of money and things like that. But I'm like, okay, what do I need to make sure is right or not right? So that's how I work with high school athletes to make sure that they are, um, not breaking rules or anything like that.
I got a crazy question for you now. What about NIL for middle school kids? Is that allowed? I
So it goes by state. So this is the thing. NIL is allowed for everybody, right? Like NIL is not some special privilege for student athletes. Everybody's allowed to be an ambassador for a restaurant, get a t-shirt in exchange for a free meal. Like that is a right. So it depends on what specifically when you say NIL, what are you saying? Are you saying for a middle schooler to get paid to play in a game? Are you saying for a booster to pay a middle schooler? Or are you talking about for a middle schooler to get paid, you know, a couple $100s to be in a commercial?
mm,
And sometimes it depends on the way that it's worded, because I know some middle schoolers that they've done NIL deals, but they can't call them NIL deals. They just call them brand ambassadorships, but that's exactly what an NIL deal is.
okay.
So
So what is the difference between getting money for an NIL deal and getting a Hummer as a gift from a place um, that is interested in you being an ambassador for them or whatnot? I mean, what would be the difference? When I think about it, we follow Keomi McMiller a lot, and she was the first Jordan Brand athlete in high. I guess she was a senior in high school when she was the first Jordan Brand athlete. What's the difference there than LeBron getting the Hummer?
because somebody just gave LeBron a Hummer because he was LeBron. That wasn't a deal. That wasn't a,
Okay.
a transaction. You know what I'm saying? First of all, NIL was not allowed when LeBron got
And
the
yeah,
Hummer.
back then,
So
yeah.
that is illegal. But let's say it's today. If Hummer calls up a high school student athlete and say, hey, we want you to be in this commercial, or we want you to be an ambassador, we'll give you a Hummer for these deliverables, that's when it's okay. Like you have to
Okay.
be in this commercial, you need to post 3 times on social media, and you need to show up for an appearance at our dealership. 4 or 5 deliverables, you get a Hummer, it's written down, we sign a contract, and it's
Gotcha.
it's a deal. So what are you doing for the compensation, which
Gotcha.
in that instance that would be the compensation is a Hummer. That's not a gift. If it's a gift, that's a whole nother conversation. That's not NIL.
Okay.
Okay.
Aisha, how did you get started in NIL?
Funny story. So when I was a student athlete, I was very big into business branding. All thing everything that student athletes are doing in NIL, I was doing as a student athlete in in the name of, trying to better myself, like raising money for charity, put myself on graphics and stuff to raise money for charity, like pretty much a lot of the things that student athletes are doing now. And so I was very much into that as a student athlete. 2012,
Hmm.
2014 was when I was really into it, my sophomore junior year. And I actually uh almost got an NIL violation because I had did a video with my trainer, and it was a really, really nice video. It was about motivation. I need a video to motivate me and to motivate others. I didn't get paid or anything like that, but it looked like a commercial.
Oh, wow.
So when my school saw it, they called me, they called the trainer, they said, hey, this got to be taken down immediately, or you're gonna get an NIL violation.
Wow.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
don't think I've ever said that on a podcast before, so you got
Wow.
that.
Exclusive content right here, Tony.
But yeah, so I've always been into the NIL activities, building a personal brand. And so fast forward to 2021, and also I would say this, I knew how important brand building activities are for student athletes. From my point of view, these are things athletes should have been doing and focused on way before they was getting paid to do it, because that's how you maximize the student athlete experience. You have a platform. So regardless of if you're getting monetized or not, you're able to meet people. You're able to build relationships that you will never have. You'll be able to build an audience, right? Regardless of what you're going to do once you graduate, this audience can help you, um, you know, do whatever you want to do, right? You want to maximize the platform that you have, right? And build a legacy and be known for something. Those are things that you should be trying to do regardless of a paycheck. Um, so I've always been big on helping student athletes do that way before the law got passed. So when the law got passed, I was the director of recruiting at Kentucky. So I was everything behind the scenes recruiting I was managing. So once NIL law passed, I became the NIL liaison. So I was handling all NIL for our players, and doing education with our players. And then I realized the gaps. I realized that they didn't really understand what NIL is. And even at Kentucky, at a place that is, the mecca of basketball, our players were still struggling to get brand deals. Our players are still struggling to understand how to promote themselves or even know what a company is looking for, to know why you are even marketable. Because if you at, let's say, um, Big Blue Madness, right? That's the only televised practice, right?
Wow.
On ESPN, and millions of viewers, you come out with a shirt with that represents a company, that's very valuable to a company. So having our players understand those things, right? And so that's kind of how I got started. Like I was doing it at Kentucky, and then I realized the big gap in people not understanding. So I wanted to really dive into it, and so then I started my own consulting business and just went all in with it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, I've been telling myself, and so tell me how I'm wrong here, or maybe I'm not wrong. I've been telling myself that I was going to wait until I can get my daughters, uh, from a grassroots perspective, wait till I can get them monetized on their social media first before I go and try to get endorsements or try to get deals, so I could go to these people and say, "Hey, look, she already got the blue check on her own before you. So now show us the money." Of course, I wouldn't say it like that, but my question is that how is that strategy ignorant, or what are your thoughts on that strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I love the way you're thinking, but that specifically, that's not a good strategy. The way to go about it is just to see what are the eyeballs, right? How many followers do she have, right?
Right.
What type of impact does she have? Tell me a little bit about your kids that you're referring to.
I got an 11 and a 9-year-old. Um, Ironically, she's gone viral over a cat video. So she's got past 1,000 subscribers. She has like 2,000 subscribers now, and has like 50,000 views or whatever. But it wasn't through her basketball. It was actually through making this cat video. Like, these kids have this thing that they call edits, and
Hmm.
watch this girl on TikTok named Lauren, and Lauren knows how to make edits and do all these things, and they make these funny, weird edits that at 52 years old, I don't understand what they're doing. But she has these edits with this cat, this cartoon cat, not Garfield, but he looks like Garfield, and so she went viral on that, on all the TikTok, Instagram, and everything. And I have the conundrum where she's the one that knows how to make stuff go viral more than me. But at the same time, I don't want to give her access, because when you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, and if she starts hitting that doom scroll, there's some crazy stuff on there. So it's kind of like that conundrum where I've been keeping it away from her, but I gave her YouTube unfettered, and she's gone viral on YouTube. So what I do is whenever she has a good game, I clip everything up, put music to it, put the rest of her socials in the thing, and I post it. And it's had, some of them have had 7, 10,000 views, and then some of them have had 300, 400 views, and some have even had 70 views. So that's what I've been doing, hoping that it can continue to grow. And then, and I'll be honest with you, there's two things I've been kind of waiting on. I've been waiting on her to go off in an AAU game where it sends kind of shockwaves, and also been waiting for her to go off. Hope I just put her in public school, because then public school gives you the we've been homeschooling this whole time, but I put her in public school with the hope that maybe she goes off in a local game, and then she's only a sixth grader playing seventh and eighth graders. But I've been hoping she goes off in a local game, and then it gets caught in the Fredericksburg freelance, and then that way you get more eyeballs that way, where people, things will catch that way, so that we can go and move forward with NIL. That's been my thought process. But I'm new to this as well as anyone else.
Yeah.
Before she answers real quick, what does viral mean? How many do you have to have? Because this is a whole new thing for me. I mean, I do the whole social media thing, but I don't know all that. How many do you have to be considered viral?
It depends on who you're asking. Like viral could be a couple million, viral could be, 50,000, viral could be 100,000. Just like when you feel like this piece of content is taking off in a way you didn't expect,
Okay.
Gotcha.
Because I've heard viral, and I, like my kids get hype over like 150 views, 200 views, like, oh, you got 200 views on this, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, are we close to getting viral or what? so I don't know all that. So when Tony was saying they went viral, I was like, what does that mean? But anyway, go back to what Tony was giving the information. I just needed to know that before we move forward.
Yeah, I think that you trying to get her to go viral, I think that's a good experiment. Well, I do want to say this first. What you're doing right now, building her brand, that is NIL.
Okay.
So don't think that because you're not getting a deal that you're not doing NIL. You're building her brand, you're building her name, image, and likeness. That is NIL. You're building her NIL. So, trying to go viral on things like that, trying to experiment and things like that, I think that's cool. I think that's, a cool thing to do. If she was a bit older, I would take a different strategy, and I would say, like, ask her what does she want to be known for, ask her what type of videos does she want to make. And I'm saying older, I'm saying like 14, 15, maybe even 13. We got to kind of like an identity of kind of what you want to be, or you got role models and goals and stuff like that. But so you trying to go viral right now is a good strategy right now, because it's kind of fun. Like, we're just playing around with it, right? But really, when you're building your brand, you just documenting your journey. I tell all the athletes that I work with now, just document your journey, and then when you get some sort of accomplishment or some sort of recognition, or it could be a really good game, a player of the week in your city, or you get an offer, something to separate you from somebody else, that's when you can actually go to a company and say, hey, I have this special little girl on my hands, right? And it starts with building a relationship, because you don't have to go to McDonald's and say, hey, where's my check? You can go to McDonald's and say, hey, I have a special little girl right here. Within the next couple, years or so, she's going to be highly recruited. Let's start building this relationship. How can we start a brand ambassadorship right now? So, she has good content. She has a good personality. So then you have these relationships. So now you have all these relationships with 10, 20, 50 businesses in the area. So when she's an eighth grader and she get her first offer, she got 5 offers or 10 offers, or whatever outrageous accomplishment that is admirable to set her apart. You can say, hey, this girl I was telling you about, let's start what type of deal we can do. But I would say, looking at the numbers and looking at your engagement, that is what companies look for.
Okay.
Right? you being monetized on a platform that doesn't really give, that's not going to give the company any um, validity, right? They want to know what is your impact to our audience, right? Let's just say it's the Texas Roadhouse that's in your city,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the Texas Roadhouse in your city, their customers are the same people that may be going to her games or maybe reading a newspaper, right?
Okay.
So now the Texas Roadhouse in your city is gonna say, hey, she's really impactful in our city. Like she's the best player. She's been player of the week 3 times,
Right.
you
Right.
know, by the city. And now you can start connecting the impact and the influence, wherever the city, the state, or whatever the case may be, to the companies as well. And a lot, again, it's relationships. Like you can go with every accomplishment. The more arrogant you are when you approach these companies, the more they're going to turn you down. So it's no need to say, "Hey, I'm all this, I'm all that." And I say, "Hey, I got, she has this going for her, she has that going for her. She'll be a good ambassador for you. Be a good partner for you. What can we talk about?" And it could take a year or 2 years, as early as you starting. Like it could take a couple years before you actually get a deal. But the earlier you start, the better. You know.
Right.
So
Right.
with Italy, we've created a website. It's italyfollow.com, and we have the YouTube thing going. She does Instagram, all of that. How much following do you have to have before you walk in to tell somebody that? I mean, because I don't even know how. I mean, I know she has a nice following, but I mean, again, I don't even know what a great following would be for you to step into this realm of NIL, and even having the, I guess, audacity to walk in and say, "Hey, this girl's going to be special." Obviously, she's talented, but how do you convince or approach a company and say this girl's going to be special and she only has 2,000 followers or 1,500 followers or whatever that is?
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you have? How do you? I mean, what's the approach there for somebody that's looking to do that? And how do you just walk into a business and without being arrogant and saying, "Hey, look at my superstar seventh grader," you know what I'm saying? Without it coming off arrogant and saying you need her to be an ambassador.
How old is she?
Well, Italy's 12, should be 13 in January, and she's in seventh grade.
Okay. So let's say, um, so when you're doing local stuff, so you as an ambassador, or her as a ambassador or an influencer, you want to be able to say, I have influence over your audience.
Mhm.
That is what matters,
Yeah.
right? So if she's a freshman and she's doing really well, right? And even if she don't gotta be the best player. Let's say she's impactful. Let's say she got a lot of good things going for her. Like again, let's say she got her first offer, right? These are things that you can go and talk and tell a company about, your daughter, um, reasons why they should start having conversations with her, right? And then the more numbers you have, the more money you can make, right? So if you have 1,500 followers, then they may offer you, they're like, oh, okay, we like her, maybe we get a gift card for a social media post. The numbers um dictate how much money you can be paid.
So they
But
evaluate. They basically go based off of what your value is. If your gift card value, you get a gift card. If you're a lot of following, it can bring a lot more people to us or whatever. Then that's how we'll give you more money.
yeah, it's a combination of that, her projection,
Mhm.
her recruiting, like, and also like how good of a salesperson you are,
So do you
as
speak to the general manager? You just walk in and
yeah,
say,
I would say call and ask for the general manager or the manager.
okay.
Okay. That is good. Now, a concern I have, because actually, I do believe that I'm going to be, because, everybody thinks this about their kid, but like, when I take them to like the Ashland YMCA, I can say my daughters officially own two gyms. They own the Ashland YMCA over here in, like they walk in, they're already little superstars in the Ashland YMCA. All the little old people love them, and everyone is just like, "Oh, there goes our future basketball." And then they own Cool Springs Baptist, so those are their two gyms, or those are already they own those places. So I do think that they're going to go viral, especially they got their own talents with this. But my concern, and I guess what's been holding me back, is um, I was concerned about going viral before the game is ready for it, and then putting a target on their back. Where if if
What you mean the game is ready for it there?
yeah, like so an example, my daughter kind of sneaks up on people. She looks like she looks like a little bag of bones, and then she puts it on people, and they don't see her coming. And then, but she goes viral with her little nickname, the Mascara Mamba, and then then now all of a sudden when she goes to these AAU tournaments, now she's hunted.
Yeah.
So that was a concern that I have, but I guess that that's part of the game anyway. That's going to come.
I mean,
Um,
it's part of it, and I will ask her like, how are you okay with attention? And you have to coach her through that as well, and that's what I do with the athletes in my program. I mean, how do you feel if you got girls that are jealous of you or want to see you go down? You know what I'm saying? That could either make her say, "Oh no, I don't really want to do it," like, "No, I'm ready. Let's go. Put
right,
me in the gym more." You know what I'm saying? So ask her like how she responds to that, and then I also say too, your influence off the court does not equate to your influence on the court. And a lot of basketball people get this confused and like are very weird about this
hmm
because you can be popular and you can be an average basketball player and you can make a lot of money in NIL being a popular average basketball player or below average basketball player. And that is okay because you're not being paid for your basketball ability. You're being paid because of your influence. All right, so let's say she goes popular. I'm just gonna make this reason up. Let's say she goes popular because people love her hair. And on
right,
the internet, people love her on the internet. And she has 50,000 followers or 100,000 followers, right? Let that, her being popular for whatever reason, she just popular.
right.
Her talent or her level of play does not have to match her popularity. That's okay.
That's good. That's good
You
to
know what
know.
I'm saying? And that's the part where parents get messed up a lot and basketball people get messed up a lot because that's why sometimes basketball people should just stay out of NIL because it the NIL business is a different game than the basketball game,
That's
you
awesome.
know? Now some people, if you're talking about a collective, how much money you're getting in collective, that may be determined off how much you're getting, you know, how much money you're getting paid in collective, but that one that shouldn't be public and two, that doesn't matter about your deals. The companies that's going to work with you care about your influence and your personality and how much influence you have,
Right,
right? And you can have a lot of influence without being a really good or the star player. So they're two different things, separate, you know,
right.
and you can be good at one, average at another one, or you can flip-flop it, you know what I'm saying? So, you work on those things separately.
I think an example of that for our audience is SJA was the MVP last year, but and when he played it, he went head up with Ant-Man in the playoffs. I think he had better games, but Ant-Man has a much broader, right? At least in America, he has a much broader influence and probably has broader endorsements as well, more popular, more well known, even though he didn't win an MVP and it didn't play as well as SJA. So I'm just using that as an example. But um, so how have you advocated for student athletes and how do you go about going and representing or do you represent any athletes individually or
No, I don't represent any athletes. I've
okay
done a few deals for players, but it's kind of, I just did a few favors or something came up and I did, but I'm not an agent, don't want to be. I advocate through education.
okay
Um, and then, well, let me let you finish your question.
oh no that's great so your focus is parents right your focus is trying to educate parents is that
Educate parents, educate athletes too. So I teach athletes how to build their brand. So it's a lot of education about building your brand. Like, who do you want to become? How do you want to market yourself? What do you want to be known for? How do you want to tell your story? Like all of these, building a brand is a skill, just like basketball is a skill. So in the same way you may go to basketball training to learn how to dribble, shoot, and pass, you should go to NIL training to learn how to be a better person. One, understand your values, promote yourself, promote your values, speak publicly, all the things that represent yourself to help you build your NIL. So I help student athletes do that part of it.
Okay. Now, have you helped a student athlete where what do you do when there's an athlete who has a brand and his brand is a little bit more on the edgy side? Have you dealt with that yet? Where there's some athlete, for instance, I'm give you John Morant. You know, he can be a little bit more on the edge. Have you run into that yet, or what is your advice to a student athlete who, everything's not cookie cutter? Because on one hand that is authentic to them, but on the other hand, that might hurt corporate sponsorship. What are your thoughts?
Um, I haven't ran into anybody with more of an edge. I'm more got to get people to keep to be more, you know, outgoing or, figure out what they want to represent. I mean, advice I would give with that is one, like you should be yourself. Um, and I don't really think there's anything wrong with John Morant's brand. Like everybody's not for everybody. And
Right.
that's what the talent, the player, the star, you need to know like you're not for everybody. It's okay if everybody doesn't like you. No star or no talent tries to be for everybody.
Okay.
And as an athlete, people think they have things to say about what people do when they don't care about you, right? But I would say like what do you want to represent? I always ask my athletes like what do you want to stand for? And then ask them what in whatever you're doing is that standing for what you want to stand for. I mean, John Morant is great. Like he has so much influence. He dance, he got energy, like people love him any place he go into. Like he has a great brand.
Right.
Like he made a couple dumb mistakes, but I mean, you can easily flip them into, you know, this is how you bounce back from adversity. You know what
Amen.
I'm saying? Like it's just a whole about what narrative you put out about your life and also learning how to craft narratives. That's a skill set too, and I help athletes do that as well.
Amen. Well, amen. Kobe, Barkley, Iverson, they all had little bumps when they were younger. And look, now they're still getting endorsements. Uh,
Yeah, people make mistakes. Like that doesn't stop an endorsement. I mean, like you can make mistakes. They're human beings. I mean, have a team around you. Be strategic, but you don't feel like you got to be perfect or meet anybody's standards. Your brand deal should be authentic to you as well, right? So if somebody don't rock with you, then if Beats don't rock with you, maybe JBL will rock with you.
right.
So companies are different too. Companies look for different things in people as well. So one company may not rock with you, but another company will, right? So
That's good. Do you recommend, does it impact the size of the school? Because what if the athlete is doing really well, but their school they're going to is very, very small. The public school they're going to is very, very small. Is it better for them to move, or if possible, for the family to move the kid to a bigger school, or do you think that that's not significant?
it depends. I think there are a lot of other factors that goes into it, like as far as to get NIL is about your personal influence,
Mhm.
right? So if you have a lot of influence, you have a lot of people, let's say the small school that you go to is in a big city, you're still in a good market. Um, Sometimes going to another school, a bigger school may hurt your brand because nobody knows you out there, right? Let's say I'm a good basketball player and I go to, let's say I have let's say I'm in Virginia and I have a lot of impact in Virginia and I could be the biggest thing in Virginia. And I say, oh, I want to go to IMG. And I had the opportunity to go to IMG. Now I go to Florida. Maybe that's a better basketball school, but nobody knows you in
Mm,
there, right? But it could be good for bigger deals, but as far as local deals and a high school level, you know, it all depends. Like everybody's situation is different. It's hard to give a generic answer to, you know,
okay, okay.
person. I would never tell somebody to change schools for NIL. You know what I'm saying? But there could be other factors that can help you as a person that makes sense as well. So it just depends.
Now, I was recently hearing about the president getting involved and signing an executive order to impact either the transfer portal or NIL. Have you heard anything about that, or did that go through? To be honest with you, there's so much been going on in the last 6 7 months. I have no idea what was passed and what was not passed. Has anything changed since he's come into office, or
I
what?
mean, I wouldn't believe anything. I don't believe anything that the president says or the current president says right now. Um, but in the NIL world, yes, that was going around, but nothing has actually changed since he put that out there. Like nothing has changed. Like it's way more other issues going on in the NIL world than what the president's talking about.
Okay, what are some of those big issues?
So what the system so so now we have revenue sharing, right? So there's a system called NIL Go that every deal has to go through. And this is their attempt to regulate NIL a little bit better. So now every deal is being tracked. This committee, the sports commission, they are governing NIL transactions. And the system is slow. They're reviewing deals late, and it's for college, it's not high school. And also they're rejecting a lot of deals that would have gotten a pass earlier without that. So that's what um colleges are worried about right now is they're not worried about what the president's talking about.
Okay. All right. Have you seen an example in Virginia of someone who has utilized NIL effectively?
High school?
Yeah, high school. Someone coming out of high school.
Yeah,
Who,
absolutely.
who's a good test case, or who's a good example or role model?
I mean, one of my players, her name is Justice. She has a few deals. She has a deal with a juicing company. She has a deal with a lip balm company. Um, just simple stuff, getting paid to post and paid to be an ambassador. You know what I'm saying? Like simple things like that. I don't think anybody else in Virginia high school. Not really that I can think of that has deals and that are, doing a good job like promoting and stuff like that.
So
Okay.
does this typically happen at an older age? I mean, I know we've already kind of covered like can middle schools get that, but when you talk about justice, how did things open up for justice?
So, like I preface everything I say, it depends on the individual and what their interests are. So, if you have a 14-year-old that's interested in promoting products and interested in being on social media, then it's for them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not an age. I think it's more of a personality and a want to. Justice is 15 or 16,
Mhm.
but she has an outgoing personality. Like it was super easy. Like she posts a lot about the brand. She wants to do it. She likes doing it. And there's 17, 18, 19, 20 year olds that don't want to do it and don't know. So, it's no age, it's an interest and, just wanting to do it.
And so just doing video, kind of, knowing kind of what you like. So I'll give you an example of what something that Italy did. And this is, I didn't even realize that like, you could do the NIL thing. She jumped on it way before I did. So she did a workout video in our backyard and she loves chicken and biscuits. And so, so she used boxes of chicken and biscuits as the cones to do her dribbling drills or whatnot. And she tagged chicken and biscuits in it and all that. Now, everybody locally thought this was the cutest thing. They loved it. Now this was maybe a year or so ago. And everybody just thought it was this cute thing. They loved it. Oh my gosh, this and that. But we ain't hear from chicken and biscuits. So what do you got to do?
That's great. That's great. You said she's 12?
Yeah, she's 12. She'll be
Okay.
13 in January.
Yeah, you got a good one on your hands. And like I said, it's interest and want to, right? That seems like something she likes doing that stuff. So she would be great at, a good NIL participant. We should book a call. And I can help you out with a more specific strategy for her. Um, yeah, I'm having a parent workshop this weekend, and I think you should definitely anybody in your audience, I'll send you the information, you can share it out. Um, but yeah, we definitely should book a strategy call. But I mean, just keep doing it, right? Like do it again, you
Got it.
know? Like it's activity, it's not a paycheck.
Just keep it going. Just it's
Right.
got
You're
to be
not gonna
consistent.
tag a company one time and they're gonna say, "Oh yes, come be
Gotcha.
keep doing
Okay.
it, you
I
know.
got it.
Um, Chicken and biscuit, is that a restaurant? Is that a
Oh, it's a cracker.
Oh, it was a cracker. Okay.
So it's a little
Yeah.
blue box, got a little chicken on the front. You know, she loves those crackers. She just eats the whole box by herself.
Yeah, like she can do another thing, her eating it, her using, is a bunch of different things that she can just keep doing because she likes to create content,
Hmm.
right? So that's the activity, NIL. I say NIL activities,
Hmm.
right? So the activity is she likes to create content, which is great. So just have her keep creating content,
Okay.
and if you tag them, you tag them, you don't, but just keep doing it, and eventually you will, or eventually you can reach out to the company. Like
Gotcha.
companies aren't going to be checking for, you know,
Yeah,
12 year
that makes sense.
olds, having fun on a computer.
Yeah.
But once she does like maybe 10 or 15 videos, it might be the social media person will be like, dang, this person may, or you may like, maybe you can call, maybe you can DM them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or maybe you can find them on LinkedIn and say, let me send them an email. It's I is ways the same process that I teach in for parent agent 101. But yeah, I
Awesome.
mean both of y'all definitely y'all should join the program for sure.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Now, do you exclusively focus in Virginia, or do you ever
No, I
help?
don't focus on Virginia at all.
Oh, you
I
don't?
focus on
Okay.
athletes. Yeah,
So
no.
so I see you. So we first met at a foundation camp with David
Mhm.
Anderson, Avery Terry, and they didn't. I love David. He's been on the podcast already, so I'm not gonna. We're good. So I'm not worried about what I'm getting ready to say. They didn't market you very well. They didn't. They kind of say, "Oh, NIL lady, so and so, whatever," but they didn't say kind of what you did. So we started following you. And then we ran again. We ran into each other again at the She Got Game Classic up in DC. And then I see you all the time at made hoops events and whatnot. Is that kind of what you do? I mean, how do you find the people? I mean, what do you do when you go to those places? What's the goal?
Yeah, so with May Hoops, I was actually the director of May. I'm not anymore, but I was actually in charge of those events that I was putting those events on. So that's
Okay.
why I was at the May Hoops events. I do speak at camps, and sometimes, like spoke at Blue Star Camp, spoke at some other camps that they'll bring me in and be a speaker. At the Anderson camp, I kind of popped up. I don't even think he knew that I was coming. So that's
Okay.
kind of why he kind of like, hey, yo, come here, and kind of had a brief introduction because I didn't even tell him I was coming. I just came. Um, and then, I spoke briefly, introduced myself and things like that. But yeah, I go speak. And then if parents are interested in my services, are interested in learning more, they want to learn what they need to do to become an agent parent, then they'll either join my program or have the athlete join my program or my mentorship. So that's kind of, meeting people, educating people. And then, the goal is to get people, interested if they are, or meet people where they are, and then have them join my program.
That you're using a term that I really love. Can you educate the public when you use the term agent parent? Because that's how I feel about myself. Like if I'm not, it's my job to make my kids look as good as possible. And there's going to be times where it's my job to be a butthole. Where I mean, under certain circumstances, I'm not trying to be a butthole all the time because I don't want to put them in a bad light. But there's going to be times. I'll be honest with you, my hero is King Richard, what I'm saying, of Serena and Venus's. That's who I want to be. I want to be, because guess what? He was not a good tennis player, and I ain't got no game. So guess what? I want, so all I can do is give you 5 fouls and hit a set pick, and that's about it. But I want to be that agent parent as well. But a lot of times people they have the wrong idea of what their role is. I think some people have the wrong. So can you explain what an agent parent is and how and what you mean when you use that term?
Yeah, it's my definition of agent parent, right? So I have a program called Agent Parent 101 where I train parents on how to market their student athlete, how to go through a collective situation, how to get the best collective deal, how to reach out to brands, all things NIL strategy, and just basically represent their athlete. And I'm gonna tell you why I created the program is that in girls basketball, there's just simply not enough agents,
Right.
right? And a lot of the best athletes are represented one by their parent, and you have to be top of the top of the top to get a good agent. And if you don't have a good agent, like like a clutch, or and it doesn't have to be clutch, but if you don't have a solid agency, then it's hard to get an agent or an agency to be invested in your growth if you're not, because they got to make money too, right? So if you're not projected to make 500 to $1 million in NIL revenue through collective, then you're not even worth their time, right? Or if you're not going to make 500 to $1 million in endorsements, then like how they all going to get paid, right? So when I was at Kentucky, it was actually a situation where we had a player sign with an agency, and the basically agency didn't pay them no mind after they signed,
Mm,
and I hated that.
mm,
And once you learn a skill, you can do it, and you can redo it over and over and over again. But the majority, more times than not, you won't have the opportunity to get good representation,
right,
right? But that does not mean you can't get good NIL deals, because you can.
right.
Right? You just gotta learn the process. And yeah.
What's the biggest three mistakes that agent? Because my theory is all us parents are agent parents. Just some of us are bad agent parents. So, what's the three biggest mistakes that you see parents making as agent parents?
One, not educating themselves.
Okay,
Right? So if you're just doing what you feel, you know, then you could be doing your child a disservice if you're not fully educated. Right? Or
right,
you could be doing the wrong strategy for years and wasting a whole lot of time and energy when you could have actually been doing a really, really good strategy. And in 3 years, you could have been making her 5 to 10 to $15,000 every deal if you just did it the right way. And I'm talking about brand deals. So I would say that. I would say listening to the wrong people is a mistake. And I will also say it's a lot of mistakes that parents make, but the big three: not educating yourself, listening to the wrong people, and then just trying to be about the money when it
mm,
comes to like a collective or in the recruiting process and things like that.
okay. All right, so I'm gonna ask you a tough one here. This is a tough one, and you want to say pass? I totally get it. I totally get it. Which AAU teams do you see out there, or AAU organizations do you seem out there where their NIL component really impressed you? Were like, oh, they're leaning into this, or they had a special feature where you were like, ooh, I like what they're doing there. Have you seen anybody who really impressed you, or that they really were leaning in on helping their athletes with NIL?
Yeah, I mean, any AU program that worked with me, of course. I offered that 2 years ago. I was working with AU programs. I didn't work with any AU programs this year because I was coaching. Um, but this is the thing. An AU program can be doing very, very good by 10% of their players.
Mm,
I'm not necessarily impressed by that.
mm,
Or the AU program could only think about NIL in the sense of collective, and they're only learning or trying to navigate um, the opportunities for their players that they know are going to play Power Four. I'm happy about that, right? But at the same time, I'm not impressed by that, because for me, everybody needs brand building education, because regardless of where you're going to play, the ones that won't get a lot of collective money are the ones that need it the most, because they can go get endorsement money, or they can use these skills to build a platform for life after basketball, right?
okay.
So a lot of people got it flipped. Um, I'm gonna say Boo Williams, one, because I was the consultant and I was helping all the players and things like that. Um, but let me try and think, because I want to give a genuine answer of somebody that actually seen doing things. Um, it's a program in Chicago, Example Elite. I mean, is that Example Academy?
Okay. All right.
Example
Or
Academy.
if it's not that,
Um,
I'm gonna look it up and I'll put it in the notes so
yeah,
that.
they're in Chicago. I communicate with their director a bunch. They're into it. Like, they will have like sessions, and they will have um just opportunities for the players to speak and work on their, their branding and stuff like that. I know them for a fact. And I'm not saying they're the only, but I know I've seen them multiple times where they were doing things for everybody to learn.
Other than Boo Williams, who do you work with in Virginia?
Um, I don't work with any other AU teams in Virginia. I don't work with any other AU teams in Virginia.
Okay.
I
No.
work with FBC, FBC up next. I've worked with an AU team in California, Pennsylvania. I gotta remember it's been 2 years since I was working with AU teams specifically, so I can't remember everybody I work with.
Okay, we only got two questions left. We thank you for your patience with us. You just have so much knowledge. We wanted to definitely, with this whole hour has flown by. But as someone, I'm not even asking you just as an NIL person. I'm asking you because I didn't know going into this that you were also a former baller. If you had an 11, 12-year-old, or if you had a young athlete that was like your daughter, is there any program that really, really, knowing what you know, who's played at an elite level, you've been through it all, and then also the business side as well, is there, because I know you already said Boo Williams impressed you with how they leaned in with NIL,
Yeah, I
but
played for Boo. I played for Boo. I coached for Boo, so I'm a Boo
oh,
Williams kid. So I'm always gonna.
oh, okay, okay, well, that answers my question. Then I can even edit that one out. You already know, I already know. So that's where you're going there. So with that being said,
No, what were you gonna ask? I was just saying that's why I had
Well,
said that first question.
I was going to ask where, what program really impresses you, but
Oh.
if you coach for Boo, then I think I know which program impresses you. Amen.
I mean,
But
I'm impressed by a lot of programs. I mean, like I said, when I was running May, I really had got the opportunity to build real relationships with coaches, with directors. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of programs that impress me. I mean, all the Nike programs, Under Armour programs, and I don't want to get to calling out programs because I don't want to, you know, miss anybody. But I will shout out Gina, Team Thrill, Team Durant, Team Takeover, a bunch of the Nike programs, Essence, West Virginia Thunder has a really good program. Like, I mean, I'm impressed with a lot of any AU program that's consistently competing at a high level and that is consistently sending kids to college, and the director is involved, and I'm impressed with a lot of AU programs.
okay,
So I'm
And
going to put you on.
anybody who played May in 2024, 2025, I'm impressed with because I work with them. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good directors and good coaches in AU.
okay,
So I'm going to put Latoni because I don't typically put people on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'll use a Tony line. We can edit this out if you want us to.
No, I mean, no, it's fine.
But
It's
but
fine. Shout out to everybody.
you popped up on David Anderson at his camp. That's a team that has a mutual interest in my daughter playing for them. We're interested, they're interested, but we have some others, and we need to kind of try to figure some things out. What's the connection there? And are you involved at all with Foundation?
No, I'm not involved with Foundation at all. I mean, I have a lot of relationships. So, um, like I said, like I was running the Made platform, so I have relationships with a lot of different, and then I play AU. Like, this is my life. It's been my life since I've been 8 years old. So, um, you know, as far as associated, the only AU program that actually associated with is Boo Williams. But as
Mhm.
far as connections and relationships, um, knowing the director, a lot of them. So, we can talk about what her options are and kind of see what may be best for her. But
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, I got a good feel for a lot of the AU programs that the way they operate and things like that.
Gotcha. And do you want that to stay in the podcast, or do you want us to edit that out?
That's up to you. That's I'm cool with it.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm cool with it. Shout out to everybody. If you did business with me, shout out to you.
amen, amen, Aisha. Now, Aisha, what year did you coach him in? I mean, what like for instance, my kid's 2032. What year are you coaching in Boo Williams?
The 2029s.
2029s. Okay, all right, all right. Now, where can people find you? Where can they get educated? Where can they sign up for your courses? Where can they link up with your business? How can people reach out?
Absolutely. Go to majornilsuccess.com, majornilsuccess.com. You can register for free workshops. I also have a free resource for parents as a group. I have a bunch of different workshops, trainings, all things NIL that parents can get access to for free. I also do have a paid program as well. If you want me to mentor your student athlete, if you want me to actually coach them in the same way they get coaching in basketball, if they want to get branding coaching, majornilsuccess.com is where you can sign up for both of those things. And then, social media, Instagram, all those, always on Instagram and communicating with people on Instagram. You can just type in my name, I should pop right on up, or underscore inspired by Ish, or on Twitter or X, type in Aisha Foy, I will pop right on up. Then IO coach, you'll see me.
I remember you saying that the reason that you had left Kentucky was because there were gaps that you had seen in the NIL and what people knew and all of that. Have we covered the gaps today? We don't want to leave anybody, left out. I know you have your services and things that they can come and get more information. But do you feel like we've covered what we've needed to cover today for the gaps that you spoke about when you were talking about getting into this business?
Absolutely. I think we talked about the education. I mean, NIL beyond making money, understanding that it is a skill set that you need to learn and lean into, and just make sure you get your information from the right people. I think we covered a bunch, especially with both of you being parents. The questions that you were asking, um, were good questions for people to kind of get a better idea of how to go about things.
Thank you again, Aisha, for coming on. We thank you for all that you poured out into our audience and also into our knowledge base as well. And we definitely look forward to working with you in the future. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you and all that you're offering the basketball community. Any closing thoughts, Coach Fowler?
Listen, I don't know a lot of NIL coaches. I don't know a lot of people in the NIL game, but I do feel like we got the best in the business on the podcast. So we sure appreciate you coming on. Nobody can tell me any different.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this conversation.